Welcome back to Science in Sleeping. I'm so glad you're here again tonight. We're drifting into the gentle world of weather, the science, the sensations, and the soothing rhythms that help your mind and body surrender to rest. If you're listening right now, maybe it's late, maybe the lights are dim, your phone screen glowing softly beside you. The day has already done its work, and now all that's left is this quiet moment between you and the soft sound of a voice meant to guide you slowly, peacefully into sleep. Tonight's episode is called The Science Behind Weather That Helps You Fall Asleep, and together we'll explore how rain, wind, thunder, and even the quiet chill of a cloudy night influence your brain, your heartbeat, and your sense of calm. It's fascinating science, but also deeply human, because long before electricity, before air conditioners and white noise apps, our ancestors listened to the sky. They slept beneath the rhythm of weather. And even now, deep within us, that instinct remains. The sound of rain means safety. The whisper of wind signals peace. The rumble of thunder tells us that the world outside is alive, but we are safe and sheltered within it. As always, I want you to know you don't need to focus too hard. You don't need to remember every detail or hold on to every scientific fact. Let the ideas drift through you like clouds moving across a quiet night sky. This time is yours to rest, to learn gently, or to let go entirely. Maybe you're lying in bed, feeling the weight of the blanket slowly settle over you. Or maybe you're on a long flight, or listening from a quiet hotel room far from home. Wherever you are, I'd love to know where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Because there's something beautifully human about knowing that thousands of us across the world are breathing together in this same shared calm. Different time zones, different stories, but all seeking the same thing: peace, stillness, rest. You've done enough today. You've tried hard enough, thought enough, worried enough. Right now, it's okay to release all of it. Let the tension melt from your shoulders. Let your breath soften. Let the sound of my voice take over the thoughts you no longer need to hold. You're safe here. You're seen. And for the next few hours, I'll do the thinking for you. I'll tell you the stories of clouds and currents, of why a thunderstorm can calm the nervous system, and how the chemistry of the air itself changes as night falls. Each detail is a thread in the larger fabric of nature, and together, they create a soft pattern that your mind instinctively recognizes as peace. So, tonight, we'll journey through the science of sleep. Guided by the weather that surrounds us, we'll explore how barometric pressure affects your breathing, how lightning alters the ions in the air, why gentle rain triggers the release of serotonin, and how ancient humans adapted to the night through nature's sounds. You'll discover that sleep and weather aren't just connected, they're part of the same living rhythm. The earth breathes, and so do you. The wind moves, and your thoughts move with it, until, slowly, the two become one. So now, settle in, find a comfortable position, loosen your jaw, unclench your hands, let your body feel heavy, your eyelids soft. Let this space, this quiet, this time, belong completely to you. You don't have to try to sleep. Sleep will come to you naturally. All you have to do is listen, and let the weather guide you home. Now, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine the sound of distant rain, each drop falling softly against your window. Steady, familiar, eternal. That's where we'll begin tonight, with the science and the serenity of rain. Have you ever wondered why the sound of rain feels like a lullaby? Why a cloudy evening seems to slow your thoughts? Or why the soft rhythm of water tapping against your window makes your eyes grow heavy? It's almost as if the weather itself knows when your body needs to rest, and somehow, in its quiet wisdom, it sings you to sleep. Picture yourself standing beneath a wide, gentle sky. It's twilight now, the kind of evening where the world seems to sigh with relief. The air is cool and heavy, the clouds a deep shade of silver. You hear the first drops of rain, soft, scattered, uncertain, then slowly they gather into rhythm, a calm, steady heartbeat against the earth. You close your eyes and feel it, the smell of wet soil, the hush of the wind, the subtle shift of the air that tells you something ancient and soothing is happening. You breathe in deeply, and your mind, without effort, begins to slow. You are safe. You are small. You are part of something vast and peaceful. Now, let's explore why this happens, why rain, in all its simple beauty, has such a powerful effect on the human brain. It begins with something called pink noise. Unlike the harsh hum of city traffic or the sharpness of sudden sounds, pink noise is perfectly balanced, gentle and even. It's made up of every frequency that your ears can hear, distributed in a way that's naturally pleasing. Rain creates this sound effortlessly, the drops striking leaves, roofs, and ground all blend together into a constant, non-threatening rhythm. Your brain interprets it as stability, as predictability, and in that predictability, your nervous system finds permission to relax. When you hear rain, your body instinctively slows. Your heart rate drops slightly. Your breathing evens out. This is partly evolutionary. The steady rainfall meant safety for our ancestors. It signaled that predators were less active, that shelter was near, that the day was ending, and rest could begin. So your brain, even now, carries that memory, a genetic whisper that says, you are safe. You can rest now, but there's more than memory at play. The scent that fills the air after rain, that fresh, earthy smell, has a name, petrichor. It's created when raindrops hit dry soil, releasing plant oils and a compound called G. Your nose detects it instantly, and though you may not realize it, that smell has a direct calming effect. It activates parts of the brain linked to nostalgia and contentment. It reminds you, subconsciously, of renewal, of cycles that continue without your effort. Even the ions in the air change as rain falls. Negative ions increase. These invisible particles interact with serotonin and oxygen levels in your blood, helping balance mood, improve breathing, and reduce stress. Did you know that hospitals in the mid-20th century experimented with negative ion generators to help patients sleep more soundly? Or that studies show people fall asleep up to 30% faster when exposed to pink noise? These effects aren't imagination. They're chemistry and physics intertwined with comfort. Every drop, every gust of wind carries signals that your body recognizes. Weather is not just an environmental condition. It's a biological companion, tuned to your rhythms in ways you rarely notice. When you're lying in bed, listening to rain, your brain enters a gentle synchronization with it. The auditory cortex, the part that processes sound, slows its activity. Your alpha brain waves, linked to relaxation, begin to rise, and soon theta waves emerge, the ones that carry you into the first light stages of sleep. It's a gradual dance between body and nature, a conversation that doesn't need words, only rhythm and breath. Imagine rain as nature's metronome, each drop a soft note marking the passage of time. Each moment of silence between drops, a pause for your thoughts to dissolve in the steady pulse of rainfall. Chaos loses its shape, the mind's edges blur, and all that's left is quiet, steady presence. And when thunder rolls far in the distance, low and soft, it vibrates through you like a heartbeat. That sound, deep, round, resonant, travels miles through the air. Your body doesn't fear it when it's distant. It feels it as grounding, a reminder that the world continues its cycles. Powerful but peaceful, it's nature's bass note, supporting the melody of the rain, a sound that roots you to the earth and reminds you that you belong here, safe and small beneath an infinite sky. Rain is not just weather, it's memory, chemistry, and rhythm made visible. It is the earth exhaling. It's the atmosphere releasing its tension, and in its release, you find your own. As rain falls, the world feels forgiven, the noise of the day is softened, and everything unnecessary dissolves into mist. You are part of that mist now, part of the cycle that has no beginning or end. The same rain that falls tonight will rise again in vapor. It will drift, form clouds, and someday return. Just as you rise and fall within your own quiet rhythms, you are made of the same elements, water, air, and time, and like the rain, you do not need to rush, you only need to return, again and again, to stillness. Now, as the rain fades softly in your mind, let the sound linger. Let the calm it brings sink deeper into you, your breath matching its rhythm, your heartbeat slower. And as this part of the night drifts away, we'll follow the clouds as they move higher into the sky, toward the cool, invisible winds that shape the weather above. Gentle, quiet, endless, just like your dreams. Have you ever wondered where the wind begins? Not just the breeze that brushes your cheek, but the invisible current that circles the planet, the whisper that travels across deserts and mountains, through forests and oceans, until it finds you. Have you ever felt the strange comfort of wind against your skin and wondered why it feels alive? As if the earth itself were breathing beside you, calmly, endlessly, without ever needing to rest. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a quiet field at night. The air is cool, the horizon a faint blue-gray. Above you, clouds move slowly, pushed by unseen hands. Each gust seems to carry a secret, a rhythm, a heartbeat that doesn't belong to you but somehow syncs with your own. The grass bends gently, whispering as it moves somewhere far away. The wind began its journey, maybe over the ocean, maybe in the shadow of the mountains, and now, after traveling across half the world, it finds you, soft and unhurried, brushing against your face like a passing thought. What you're feeling in that moment is not random. The wind is more than moving air. It's the Earth's circulatory system, a complex, endless flow of energy that balances heat, carries moisture, and regulates life. Every breath of wind is connected to something vast, the pull of the sun, the spin of the planet, the rise and fall of temperature in distant lands. The same gentle breeze that cools your skin tonight may have once passed over glaciers, through forests, above seas filled with lightning and rain. Each molecule of air has lived countless lives before finding its way to you, and somehow your body knows this. It feels the story in the motion, the long, slow journey of energy that never truly ends. Scientifically, the wind exists because of imbalance. Warm air rises, cool air sinks, the planet spins. And this spinning, known as the Coriolis effect, bends and twists these movements into intricate patterns. From this invisible dance emerge the great jet streams, the monsoons, the trade winds, the breath of the earth. But on a smaller scale, right where you are, the air moves for reasons your senses can feel more directly. When evening comes and the ground cools, the air above it begins to fall. That's the nighttime breeze. You feel the air returning to equilibrium, its nature releasing the heat of the day. And you, lying in your bed, feel that release as calm. Your body is wired to respond to wind. From the moment you're born, your skin learns to read the air. The tiny hairs on your arms detect direction and temperature. Your inner ear feels pressure shifts long before you notice them consciously. And your brain interprets all this information as comfort or warning. But when the wind is soft and rhythmic, like a slow, steady exhale, your body reads it as peace. It tells your nervous system the environment is stable. You are safe in that safety. Your muscles relax. Your cortisol drops. Your heart slows. The parasympathetic system, the part responsible for rest and recovery, quietly takes over. Did you know that even in perfectly still rooms, scientists can measure microcurrents of air created by body heat? Every living being changes the air around it. A single breath alters temperature, moisture, and the movement of invisible particles. When you lie still, your breathing creates tiny, circular eddies, a private weather system around your body. The air closest to your skin warms, rises, cools, and falls again. You are, in a sense, surrounded by a soft, invisible halo of wind that responds to your every movement when you breathe deeply. That halo expands and stabilizes, and your brain, feeling this gentle consistency, interprets it as safety. That's one reason deep breathing feels grounding. It literally changes the tiny weather within and around you. On a larger scale, wind also carries something more mysterious: infrasound. Low-frequency vibrations so deep you cannot hear them, but your body can feel them when wind moves through mountains, forests, or tall buildings. It creates deep, slow pulses. These frequencies can travel miles through air and even through the ground. Your body picks them up through your skin and bones. They resonate within you. In fact, certain low-frequency sounds, around 10 to 20 hertz, are known to synchronize with your heartbeat. This is one reason a steady wind feels calming. It's literally harmonizing with your internal rhythm. The earth is humming, and without realizing it, you're humming with it. Think of the ancient world for a moment. Before cities, before machines, people listened to the wind the way we listen to music. Sailors could read its tone and predict storms. Farmers felt the way it carried the scent of rain or harvest. Nomads could sense a change in direction and know a season was shifting. They didn't just hear the wind, they spoke its language. And perhaps some quiet part of that language still lives inside you, a memory of belonging to something larger and endlessly moving. There's another hidden reason the wind soothes us. When we hear it rustling through leaves, brushing against walls, sighing softly through windows, our auditory system relaxes. These are what scientists call non-linear natural sounds. Unlike artificial sounds, which repeat predictably, natural sounds vary slightly from moment to moment. Your brain doesn't have to analyze or anticipate them. It recognizes the pattern as alive, and alive means safe, so the mind rests, drifting naturally between awareness and dreaming. You might notice that when you listen to a calm breeze, your imagination stirs. It's not a coincidence. The gentle randomness of the wind allows your mind to wander safely. Creativity awakens in the same way it does in light meditation, loosely guided, never forced. The sound of wind acts like a door left slightly open. You can stay awake and walk through it, or let it close behind you and drift away completely. Now imagine that same wind rising slowly through the night sky, up past the treetops, past the rooftops, past the silent clouds. At higher altitudes, the wind becomes colder, more constant. Here, in the upper layers of the atmosphere, the air moves like great rivers. The jet streams flow thousands of miles per hour, steering storms, shaping seasons, and yet, within all that power, there is balance, a constant give and take, pushing and pulling, warming and cooling. It is the same balance your body seeks each night: chaos, finding order; motion, finding stillness. There's something beautiful about knowing that the same forces that guide the weather also guide your rest. Your body is a small mirror of the atmosphere. Your breath, the wind, your pulse, the pressure. And as you breathe slowly, you are aligning yourself with the planet's own rhythm. The longer you lie still, the more synchronized you become, until even your thoughts seem to move like air, gentle, drifting, unbound. The poet Rumi once wrote, "There is a wind that awakens the heart." Maybe he wasn't speaking only of emotion. Maybe he meant the literal wind, the invisible messenger that connects all things. When you listen to it, you remember your place in the pattern, that you are not separate from the world. You are an expression of it, moving and breathing in harmony. So tonight, as you lie there, imagine that the wind outside your window is not distant. It's a thread that connects you to everything: the oceans, the mountains, the stars. Each breath you take pulls that thread a little closer, until you and the wind are no longer two separate things, just one great rhythm, rising and falling together. And as that rhythm settles, we'll drift gently upward, following the movement of air higher still, into the clouds themselves, where vapor becomes form, and the first hints of rain are born. Quietly, softly, beautifully, waiting to fall, just as you too are waiting to fall into rest, into sleep, into peace. Have you ever looked up at the clouds and wondered what they might remember? What secrets they hold after drifting for thousands of miles across the world? Have you ever watched them change shape and thought that maybe they were dreaming too? Because sometimes, when you lie beneath them, you can almost feel it, that slow, weightless motion, like the sky itself is breathing in and out, calm, vast, eternal. Picture yourself lying on soft grass just before dusk. The air is cool, the light gentle above you. The clouds move slowly, immense, white islands drifting through a deepening blue sea. They seem close enough to touch, yet they're higher than mountains, each one carrying more water than a river. The sky is quiet, but it's alive. Every swirl, every fold, every delicate wisp of vapor is part of an ancient story written by air and sunlight. You can feel its rhythm, a slow pulse in the distance, and as you watch, a strange calm spreads through you, as if the clouds are teaching your thoughts to move the same way, slowly, softly, without boundaries. The science of clouds is both simple and astonishing. They are, in essence, visible air, tiny droplets, or ice crystals, suspended high above, held aloft by the same invisible currents that shaped the winds we followed earlier. But what makes them fascinating isn't just what they're made of, it's how they move, how they form, and how they mirror the rhythms of your own mind. When warm air rises and cools, water vapor condenses into droplets. Each one clings to microscopic dust or pollen, and together they gather, forming shapes that drift and dissolve. A single cumulus cloud can contain billions of droplets. Yet it weighs less than you might think, because air holds it up, balancing gravity and buoyancy in a delicate, invisible negotiation. It's nature's most patient conversation. And within it lies a subtle secret. The same principles that create clouds are mirrored in the way your brain forms dreams. When you fall asleep, your thoughts begin to condense. During wakefulness, your mind is like warm, rising air filled with movement, ideas, fragments of memory. But as you relax, as your brain waves slow from beta to alpha, then to theta, that mental air begins to cool. And from that cooling, from that slowing, comes condensation. Scattered ideas come together, binding around invisible centers, memories, emotions, sensations forming the shapes we call dreams. They drift through your consciousness just as clouds drift through the atmosphere, constantly shifting, taking form and dissolving again. And just like the clouds, their beauty lies not in permanence, but in transformation. Did you know that your brain, when dreaming, becomes almost as active as when you're awake? It's true. In the rapid eye movement stage, REM sleep, your neurons fire in complex patterns, replaying sensory input, rearranging memory. It's a kind of internal weather, electric storms of thought passing through the landscape of your mind. Scientists have even observed that during REM sleep, temperature regulation in the body changes. Your internal systems adjust, as if your brain is surrendering control to something older and deeper. It's as though the human mind was designed to mimic the sky itself, to create clouds of thought that release the rain of emotion, washing the psyche clean. There's another layer to this mystery. When sunlight hits clouds during the day, it scatters in countless directions. This diffusion softens the light, erases harsh shadows, and bathes the world in calm. The same process happens within you when you sleep. Your brain scatters the intensity of daytime thoughts, the sharp edges of worry blur. The brightness of memory softens. Dreaming, then, is your mind's way of diffusing light, turning the chaos of thought into gentle illumination. The colors of clouds at sunset are the language of chemistry and distance. The orange and pink hues come from sunlight traveling through thicker layers of atmosphere. Blue light scatters first, leaving behind the warmer tones. It's a kind of cosmic filtering. And it happens within you too when the day ends. Your mind filters its own light. Serotonin, the chemical of wakefulness, transforms slowly into melatonin, the chemical of rest. The brain, like the horizon, shifts from bright thought to warm quiet. Your body becomes twilight, and the world outside mirrors the world within. Clouds also affect the temperature of the night. When they cover the sky, they hold in heat like a blanket. Nights with low, thick clouds are warmer, safer, quieter. Your body senses this difference, even through walls, and it responds. Your muscles loosen, your blood vessels widen slightly. Your body reads the weather like a lullaby, and in that softness, sleep deepens somewhere above. High in the troposphere, there are clouds you'll never see, cirrus clouds, thin, icy feathers stretching across the upper sky. They move at hundreds of miles per hour, silent and distant, yet they play a crucial role in balancing sunlight, reflecting what would overheat the earth. They are the guardians of global calm, and in their stillness, you can find a reflection of your own peace, for even when you are asleep, your brain is managing balance, regulating heat, breath, rhythm, energy, maintaining the fragile equilibrium of life. And if you could rise high enough above all the clouds, you'd reach the stratosphere. Their air is thin, the sky darkens below you. The cloud layers stretch endlessly, a silver ocean of vapor that never stops moving. Looking down, you'd see storms form and dissolve, great circular spirals, like thoughts turning in slow motion. It's breathtaking, and yet silent, gentle, eternal, just as your mind, in its deepest stages of sleep, becomes both still and vast. The thoughts no longer words, the dreams no longer images, only sensations, only presence. Clouds are reminders of impermanence. They exist only because of balance. Too warm, and they vanish. Too cold, and they fall. But in that fragile middle state, they are magnificent, and so are you. You live most beautifully not in extremes, but in balance between waking and dreaming, thought and surrender, sound and silence. Clouds, like dreams, remind you that even transience has meaning, that beauty doesn't need to last to be real. As you lie here now, imagine that, above you, the clouds are drifting slowly, their shadows moving softly across your skin, each one a thought, a memory, a piece of yourself floating gently away. You don't need to chase them. You don't need to name them, just let them pass. Let them dissolve into the horizon of your awareness. Somewhere, the first stars are appearing. They shimmer faintly through thin veils of vapor. The night is deepening, the sky is breathing, and so are you. And now, as the last glow of daylight fades, let your body grow heavier, let your thoughts grow lighter. You are drifting like a cloud through layers of soft air. No destination, no hurry, only motion and calm above the clouds. The air is colder, thinner, and in that stillness, a new mystery begins. Because where clouds end, lightning begins. A flash of brilliance that connects sky to earth, energy finding its path home. And in our next journey, we'll follow that spark. We'll explore how light and electricity dance through the atmosphere, and how, in their brightness, the brain finds its own quiet release. For even thunder has a rhythm that can help you sleep. And even lightning, fleeting and fierce, can teach the mind peace. Have you ever wondered what truly happens when lightning strikes? That flash of light across the sky, brighter than 1,000 suns, yet lasting less than a heartbeat. Does it destroy or does it create? Is it chaos or is it connection? And have you ever noticed how the air feels right after a thunderstorm? Cool, clean, almost sacred, as if nature has taken a deep breath and finally exhaled. Picture yourself standing beneath a cloudy twilight sky. The horizon glows faintly violet. The wind is still, but the air hums. There's a tension you can feel but not see. The silence before a storm is not empty. It's charged. Alive. Every molecule seems to be waiting for something. And when the first flash appears, it doesn't just light the clouds, it splits the moment in two. For a second, everything stops. Even your heartbeat seems to listen. That is lightning, nature's most powerful whisper. A single bolt can heat the air to over 30,000 degrees Celsius, 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. Yet, in its brief fury, it brings balance to the atmosphere. Because lightning isn't just destruction, it's restoration. It neutralizes electric differences between the sky and the ground. It releases built-up tension, much like what happens in your own mind. Every thought you have carries charge, tiny electrical impulses leaping between neurons. And when too many build up without rest, your mental sky becomes stormy. Stress, anxiety, restless thoughts, all are the crackling buildup of unbalanced energy. Sleep, then, is your body's lightning, a nightly reset that restores electrical harmony in the brain. Did you know your brain produces about 20 watts of power when awake? That's enough to light a dim bulb every second. Billions of neurons communicate using electricity, not the kind that burns, but the kind that connects when you drift into deep sleep. Your brain waves slow down. Alpha turns to theta, then to delta, long, slow waves that sweep across your cortex like soft tides. This change isn't random, it's a reset, a purification of electrical rhythm. And scientists believe that during these deep sleep cycles, the brain clears away metabolic waste, toxins, and excess neural charge. It's the lightning after the storm, energy realigned, peace restored. After lightning, the air changes, rain falls heavier. The scent of ozone fills the air, that crisp, metallic fragrance that follows a storm isn't just poetic, it's chemistry. Lightning breaks apart oxygen molecules, creating ozone. It ionizes the air, charging particles with subtle electricity that our bodies can actually sense. You breathe it in, and though you don't see it, your nervous system responds. Your heart rate lowers. Your mind feels sharper yet calmer. It's as if the earth herself exhales serenity after the chaos. And in that exhale, she invites you to rest. Inside you, a similar ionization happens when you sleep deeply. As neurons discharge and repolarize, ions flow in and out of microscopic gates: potassium, calcium, sodium, the alphabet of biological electricity, each movement a whisper of renewal, each flow resetting the balance between tension and calm. And like a thundercloud releasing its lightning, your body releases its stress. Dreaming becomes the rain, gentle, necessary, washing clean what the waking mind could not. Have you ever noticed how many people fall asleep easier during a thunderstorm? There's a reason for that. The sound of rain masks disruptive noises. creating a natural white noise blanket. The rhythmic roll of thunder echoes slow delta waves, and the drop in air pressure triggers the release of serotonin, the same hormone that helps you relax. The environment and your biology synchronize. You and the weather fall asleep together. But lightning also holds an ancient secret, one tied to the origin of life itself. Billions of years ago, before there were oceans or trees or even breath, the Earth's sky was filled with storms, massive electrical discharges striking pools of primordial soup. Those bolts didn't destroy, they created. They fused simple molecules into amino acids, the building blocks of life. In that blinding light, creation began, and even now, every storm carries an echo of that first spark. Every flash a reminder that chaos can give birth to order. That energy, once released, can become harmony when you sleep. You to return to that origin in the silence of deep rest. Your body rebuilds, cells repair, memories consolidate, electrical patterns strengthen or fade. It's a nightly recreation, small, invisible lightning sparking within you, a quiet continuation of that same cosmic story. Scientists have discovered that storms affect brain chemistry even from afar. Barometric changes can alter melatonin production. Static fields in the atmosphere subtly influence mood and attention. And after thunderstorms, when ions in the air shift, people often report feeling refreshed. It's as though the planet resets its nervous system, and ours resonates with it. You are not separate from the weather. You are a participant in its rhythm, a living conductor of its energy. Imagine now that you are lying near an open window. Outside, lightning flickers in the distance. The soft rumble of thunder rolls through the air like a heartbeat. You can smell the ozone, the wet soil, the calm after rain. Each flash reflects faintly on your eyelids. It doesn't startle you, it soothes you. Each pulse of light feels like your mind's own energy being renewed. The storm no longer feels threatening. It feels like something ancient and familiar, the world dreaming with you. Deep inside your brain, the hippocampus hums, replaying memories from the day, but only the ones worth keeping survive the storm. The rest, the noise, the clutter, the small stresses, are released. Like lightning discharging from the sky, you wake clearer, lighter, as if the rain had washed through your thoughts. There's something poetic about the idea that the same force that splits the heavens also helps you find peace. That electricity, which can burn and break, also restores balance. The same duality exists within us, tension and release, energy and surrender, chaos and calm without storms. The air would stagnate without dreams. The mind would too. And so, each night, your body becomes the weather. Your thoughts gather like clouds. Your heartbeat hums like distant thunder. Your neurons flash like tiny bolts of lightning. And when it's over, you are cleansed, rebalanced, renewed. The ancient Greeks believed lightning was the touch of the gods. Modern science knows it as ionized plasma, but perhaps both are right. For in that flash lies mystery and reason intertwined, a reminder that beauty and danger, chaos and calm are part of the same eternal rhythm. As you drift deeper into rest, imagine the storm fading beyond the horizon, the air cool, the scent of rain lingering. Above the quiet world, the clouds thin, and stars begin to appear again, first one, then many, tiny lights scattered like new thoughts forming in the dark. Your mind, like the sky, has cleared, the tension is gone. Only stillness remains, and now, as the atmosphere settles, a new sound rises, gentle, rhythmic, endless. Waves rolling against the shore, for the storm has moved to the sea, and in our next journey we'll follow it there, to discover how the ocean's tides and the rhythm of your breathing share the same pulse, how the whisper of waves teaches your mind to release, and how, even in sleep, the sea within you never stops moving, always flowing, always dreaming, always alive. Have you ever wondered why the sound of the ocean feels so hypnotic? Why, even miles away from the shore, recordings of waves can lull us into calm? Why people build entire sleep playlists around the rhythm of water meeting sand? What secret does the sea hold that speaks so directly to our biology? And why, when we listen to the tide, our hearts slow down, our breath evens out, and our eyes begin to close? Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast, moonlit beach. The horizon stretches infinitely, the water gleaming like liquid silver. Each wave rises, curls, and falls with perfect rhythm. You can feel the pull, not just in your eyes, but in your entire body. The tide breathes in, and you breathe with it. The ocean exhales, and so do you. It's as though you and the sea share the same heartbeat, and in a way, you do. The connection between the tides and your own internal rhythms is older than time itself. Long before humans built clocks, before language, before thought, our biology was guided by the rhythm of the Earth's waters. The ocean's tides are controlled by the moon, her gravitational pull gently moving trillions of tons of water across the planet. At any moment, somewhere on Earth, a high tide is rising, while another recedes. This endless motion has been happening for over 4 billion years. And the same rhythm that moves oceans also moves you. Your brain and body are tidal in nature, following internal cycles called ultradian rhythms, rising and falling in energy, alertness, and emotion. Even your sleep follows these tidal patterns, ebbing through cycles of REM and deep rest. Did you know that the electrical activity in your brain during deep sleep mirrors the slow oscillation of ocean waves? Long, sweeping delta waves wash across your cortex like tides across a beach, each one carrying away the residue of thought, each one returning with clarity and calm. The more you align with this rhythm, the deeper your sleep becomes, and the ocean, whether you are beside it or only imagining it, has the power to bring your body back into that balance. Scientists have found that listening to wave sounds synchronizes breathing and heart rate. The rhythm of the surf naturally slows the nervous system. It activates the parasympathetic state, what we call rest and digest, the body's mode of safety. And when you're in that state, muscles soften, blood pressure lowers, cortisol fades. Your brain begins to release alpha waves, the same patterns seen in meditation and deep relaxation. It's not just psychological, it's physiological harmony. But the ocean's lullaby goes deeper than sound. It's in your blood, literally, the salt that fills your veins, the electrolytes that allow your nerves to fire. They mirror the mineral composition of seawater. We carry the ocean within us. When life first emerged on Earth, it rose from those saline depths, Every heartbeat since has echoed that ancient tide. Every cell in your body remembers it. So when you stand by the shore, or even when you simply imagine the sea, somewhere deep within, something recognizes home. There's a subtle truth in how we respond to that recognition. When you stare at waves, your brain begins to drift into a state called soft fascination. It's the same state triggered by staring into a fire or watching clouds pass overhead. Your attention relaxes, focused, but effortless. This allows your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, to rest. You stop calculating, stop worrying, stop narrating, and in that stillness, creativity rises, dreaming begins. Your mind opens to its own internal ocean. Have you ever noticed how your thoughts behave like tides when you can't sleep? They rise, crash, and recede, one moment calm, the next full of noise. But just as the moon calms the sea, you can guide those thoughts through rhythm. When you match your breathing to the imagined sound of waves, in as the tide comes in, out as it retreats, your nervous system begins to mirror the ocean's pulse, and with each breath, your inner storm quiets, until only gentle ripples remain. There's also mystery in the moon's influence over us. The gravitational pull that moves the sea subtly affects human biology too. Research shows that some people experience lighter sleep around the full moon. Our bodies, still attuned to ancient lunar rhythms, respond to that faint gravitational whisper. It's not superstition, it's memory, an echo of the time when our ancestors slept under open skies, guided by the moonlight, when tides travel and even dreams. In those dreams, the ocean was never silent. It was teacher, mother, mirror. It showed them how to flow, how to adapt, how to yield. And it still teaches us the same. When you surrender to the rhythm of your breath, you are practicing the wisdom of water. Soft strength, patient motion, unending renewal. You let go, not by fighting, but by flowing. Did you know that waves far out at sea can travel thousands of miles before reaching the shore? They carry the memory of distant storms, storms that may have happened weeks ago. So when you listen to the gentle surf, you're hearing the echo of weather from another part of the planet. Energy that has crossed entire oceans to find you here. It's a humbling reminder that calm and chaos are part of one cycle, that even the most violent storm eventually becomes a lullaby, just as your mind transforms stress into serenity through sleep. Imagine now that you're lying in bed, but in your imagination, that bed becomes the shoreline, your blanket the tide, rising and falling with your breath, the air around you thick with the scent of salt and distant rain. Each inhale carries the rhythm of a wave. Each exhale lets it go. You can hear the ocean whispering stories through the night. Stories older than stars, older than thought, about the balance between movement and stillness, about how even rest is a form of motion. Because while you sleep, your mind is never truly still. It drifts, traveling through memories, sensations, fragments of dreams, like waves exploring new shores. And somewhere in that drifting, healing happens. Neural pathways are strengthened, emotions are softened. The weight of the day dissolves, and what returns with the tide of morning is a quieter, clearer self. There's an ancient belief among sailors that the sea has moods, that she dreams when calm and remembers when stormy. Perhaps, in her dreaming, she mirrors us, both searching for balance, both endlessly moving toward peace. And maybe, just maybe, when you sleep, the ocean dreams through you too. You're breathing the rise and fall of her waves, your heartbeat, her pulse, your stillness, her horizon. So as the sound of waves fills your mind now, let it become your rhythm. Breathe in, the tide comes in. Breathe out, the tide retreats. You are part of something immense and ancient, and yet perfectly still in this moment. You are the ocean. You are the moon. You are the calm after every storm. And in that infinite connection, sleep finds you easily, naturally, effortlessly. As your mind begins to drift deeper, the sound of the waves grows softer. The horizon fades into a blur of silver and blue, and far above the ocean, clouds begin to gather again, gentle, glowing, alive with lightning that dances silently between them, because where the sea ends, the sky begins, and in our next journey we'll rise once more, to explore how the wind, invisible, endless, and full of secrets, carries the power to soothe your soul and guide you deeper into dreams. Have you ever wondered where the wind begins? That invisible force that moves leaves, carries voices, and fills the sails of our world. You can't see it, yet it touches everything. It moves oceans, sculpts mountains, and even whispers across your skin as you fall asleep. It's both wild and gentle, unpredictable, yet constant. And perhaps that's why it feels so comforting to hear. Because the wind reminds us of something we can't hold, but can always feel. Picture yourself standing on an open plain at twilight. The horizon fades into deep shades of indigo. Grass sways like waves beneath an unseen tide. The air hums softly, brushing against your face. Every gust feels like a living breath, the planet exhaling. Somewhere, miles away, that same air touched the ocean. It passed over mountains, drifted through forests, crossed cities, and now it's here, wrapping around you, carrying fragments of everywhere it's been. The wind has memory. Every molecule has journeyed through time and space to find you in this moment. The science of wind begins with difference in temperature, pressure, and energy. Warm air rises, cool air sinks, and in that eternal dance, movement is born. It's a cycle without end, a planetary respiration. The earth breathes through its winds, just as you breathe through your lungs. When you inhale, oxygen fills your body. When the planet exhales, the atmosphere shifts. It's the same rhythm, scaled across worlds. And that rhythm, as it happens, is mirrored in your sleep. During rest, your breathing slows, deepens, stabilizes. You become part of the planet's calm. Every inhale aligns with expansion, every exhale with release. Just as winds travel from high to low pressure, your thoughts move from tension to stillness. The air you breathe becomes the story the wind has carried. Tiny traces of salt from faraway seas, pollen from distant mountains, even atoms once exhaled by ancient forests or long-gone civilizations. You are, in a very literal sense, breathing history. Did you know that the air around you isn't empty? It's alive with microscopic particles, ions, and invisible motion. Every cubic inch contains billions of molecules colliding, swirling, whispering against each other. Each gust of wind changes pressure, which your body can feel even if you don't notice. That's why gentle breezes can calm the mind. The The rhythmic fluctuation of air pressure actually soothes the nervous system. Studies have shown that slow, consistent airflow lowers heart rate variability and promotes relaxation. When the wind hums through trees or around buildings, it creates pink noise, a deeper, more natural frequency than white noise. That same frequency matches the tempo of deep sleep brainwaves. It's no coincidence that wind sounds help you drift off. Your brain recognizes the pattern: ancient, protective, familiar. The air also carries something subtler: negative ions, produced when wind brushes across water, forests, and rainstorms. These ions aren't truly negative, they're positively healing. When you inhale them, they interact with your serotonin levels, increasing mood, reducing stress, and even helping regulate circadian rhythm. It's nature's unseen therapy, drifting quietly through the atmosphere. Every breath of mountain air, every sea breeze, every cool night wind carries this invisible calm. But the wind has another story, a wilder one. Have you ever listened to a storm through the cracks of a window? That low, steady roar mixed with distant howls. It feels alive, sentient even, because, in a way, the wind is the earth speaking through motion. In every culture, it has been given voice and spirit. The Greeks called it Boreas, the north wind, strong and swift. In Japanese myth, it was Fujin, the god who carried storms in his bag. For the Navajo, it was the holy wind, the breath of life itself. All across human history, people have known this truth intuitively, that the wind is not just weather, it's consciousness in motion. And perhaps that's why wind sounds soothe us so deeply at night, because on some ancient level, we hear in it the voice of something eternal, a mother's breath, the lullaby of creation. It reminds us that though the world is vast and unpredictable, it is also constant, always moving, always present, never still, yet never gone. Have you ever noticed how, on certain nights, the wind seems to carry memories, a scent, a sound, something familiar and unnameable? That's because smell, the sense most linked to memory, travels on air currents. The faint trace of petrichor or pine or even distant firelight can awaken entire lifetimes of emotion. And in that way, the wind becomes a bridge between the past and the present, between what was and what still lingers. Each breath you take is both now and ancient. Each exhale joins the endless circulation of the world. When you lie in bed and the curtains move slightly, or you hear the soft hum of air outside, you're hearing your planet breathe, you're hearing its pulse, and your body instinctively synchronizes with it. That's the secret behind relaxation. Breathing slow, rhythmic inhales and exhales mimic the cadence of natural wind. By breathing like the earth, you tell your brain that everything is safe, that the storm has passed, that it's okay to rest. Wind also plays a vital role in regulating temperature, both outside and within. As air moves across the skin, it triggers tiny receptors that tell your body to cool. That drop in temperature is part of what signals the onset of sleep. Your core body temperature must fall slightly for your brain to enter deep rest. And that's why we sleep best in cool, airy rooms. Why we instinctively turn toward open windows at night. The wind doesn't just soothe you, it invites you into the biological conditions of sleep itself. Now, imagine yourself lying in bed as the wind moves through the night. It rustles the trees like distant whispers, soft, shifting tones that blend with the rhythm of your breath. Each gust rises and fades like a sigh. You can almost hear words in it, fragments of voices, forgotten dreams. It feels as though the world itself is telling you to let go. Every swirl of air a gentle reminder that movement and rest can coexist. That stillness doesn't mean stopping, it means flowing quietly. The atmosphere above you is not silent, even miles above, in the stratosphere. Jet streams flow like invisible rivers of air. They circle the globe, shaping weather, guiding clouds. They even sing. Scientists have recorded atmospheric infrasound, deep tones below human hearing that resonate like a cosmic hum. You can't perceive them consciously, but your body feels them. Those vibrations may be part of what aligns your circadian rhythm with the planet's, a hidden harmony that keeps life in sync. And when the wind finally quiets near dawn, when the air grows heavy and still, that's when you know the night has completed its cycle. The earth, like you, has taken a long breath. It has inhaled the energy of day and exhaled it as peace. You awaken renewed, the world calm, the storm within you gone. There's a beautiful paradox in the wind. It's always changing, yet always the same. You can't capture it, but you can feel it. You can't see it, but it reveals the shape of everything it touches. And maybe that's the quiet lesson it teaches us as we fall asleep. That peace isn't the absence of movement, it's the balance within it. That rest doesn't mean stopping, it means aligning with the rhythm of the world. So tonight, as you drift deeper into sleep, let the sound of wind be your guide. Imagine it brushing gently across your mind, sweeping away the leftover thoughts of the day, clearing space for dreams to enter. Each breath you take, each whisper you hear, is part of a larger song, the song of the planet breathing with you. The wind carries you now, softly, endlessly, into the quiet heart of night. And as the air grows still once more, you begin to hear something else in the distance, a faint, rhythmic pattern like a pulse from the heavens. It's the sound of the stars themselves. For in our next journey, we'll rise beyond the sky to explore the invisible weather of space, the solar winds that shape our world, and how even in the farthest silence, the universe still breathes. Close your eyes and look upward, not with sight, but with imagination. The stars are waiting, patient and ancient. They have watched every life that ever was. They have seen oceans form, mountains crumble, civilizations rise and fall, and every night they return, silent, unblinking witnesses to time itself. When you lie beneath their gaze, something stirs within you. It's subtle, like a whisper beneath consciousness, a reminder that you are part of something infinite, your body, your heartbeat, your breath, all governed by the same rhythms that pulse through the cosmos. The same gravitational tides that move the planets also move your cells. The same starlight that guides migrating birds gently shapes your sleep. And every night, without realizing it, you fall into harmony with the universe. Have you ever noticed how peaceful the night sky feels? Why starlight seems to calm your thoughts? It's not only beauty, it's biology. Light, even from distant stars, plays upon your brain like a quiet song. Your eyes are drawn to it, your mind slows. The gentle dimming of twilight tells your body that it is time to rest. This isn't just habit, it's evolution. For thousands of years, our ancestors lived by celestial light. The sun dictated their waking, the moon and stars their sleep. Even now, deep in the modern world's glow, your body remembers. Inside your brain lies a tiny structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a cluster of neurons that keep time using signals from light and darkness. It's your internal clock, your circadian rhythm. When night falls and light fades, this clock releases melatonin. Your body temperature drops, your mind begins to slow. You enter the natural rhythm of cosmic sleep. But here's the extraordinary part. Even artificial light, even the glow of your phone, can confuse this ancient clock. It's as though the stars have lost their voice in our noisy modern sky. And yet, every night, somewhere in your biology, the memory of starlight still flickers. Imagine yourself standing under a clear midnight sky, the world around you silent, each star above a burning sun so far away that its light has traveled for centuries just to reach your eyes. Some of the light you see tonight left its source before your ancestors took their first breath, some even before the earth existed. You are seeing ghosts of brilliance, ancient fires still shining across impossible distances. And yet, when you gaze at them, they feel immediate, intimate, as if they're whispering directly to you. That sense of connection is not an illusion. It's the truth of existence. Everything, everywhere, connected by light. Light is memory, and your dreams are made of it. Each photon that enters your eyes carries information, the rhythm of day, the pulse of time, and when you sleep, your brain translates that rhythm into its own kind of cosmos. Neural constellations light up, forming patterns of thought and story. The stars outside and the stars inside become mirrors of one another. Your neurons firing like distant galaxies, your thoughts orbiting around the gravity of emotion and memory. In a way, when you dream, you are traveling among stars of your own making. But there is something deeper still, something ancient and mysterious. Scientists call it the sidereal connection, a subtle synchronization between our biological cycles and cosmic rhythms. The moon's phases, the rotation of the earth, even solar storms, all have measurable effects on sleep. During full moons, humans across the world tend to sleep slightly less. Dreams become more vivid, heart rates increase, melatonin levels drop just a little, as if the body instinctively awakens under lunar light, remembering the wild freedom of nights before fire and electricity. Now imagine that long before cities, humans looked to the stars for guidance. They read them like a map. They timed harvests, migrations, and ceremonies by their movement. Every flicker of light had meaning. The constellations were stories of gods, lovers, heroes, monsters. But those myths were not just legends. They were reflections of the human mind, learning to understand the sky. In every ancient civilization, sleep and stars were connected. The Egyptians believed dreams were messages sent through starlight. The Greeks thought sleep was the sister of night itself. And in Hindu cosmology, the entire universe is said to fall asleep and awaken in endless cycles, just like you, just like your dreams. And maybe they were right. Maybe the stars don't just light the sky. Maybe they illuminate the mind, each flicker reminding you of something eternal. Each constellation a fragment of forgotten understanding. But what if the stars are more than distant suns? What if they're signals? Invisible influences that guide our very biology. Consider this. Your body contains elements forged in ancient stars. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, all created in stellar furnaces billions of years ago. When you look up, you are literally gazing at your origins. You are made of the same matter that burns in those distant fires. And maybe that's why starlight feels comforting. It's home calling you back. Now, think of sleep as a return. Each night, as consciousness fades, your awareness dissolves into the same vast silence that exists between stars. Your mind drifts, your body restores, your soul recharges. It's as if the universe itself breathes you out and then pulls you gently back in. And when you dream, you're not escaping reality. You're exploring a different layer of it, a cosmic interior where thoughts take shape like galaxies, where time stretches and folds, where imagination becomes gravity, pulling fragments of your waking life into new constellations of meaning. There's something haunting about this idea that each time you close your eyes, you're reenacting the universe's oldest rhythm: creation, expansion, rest, renewal. A cycle mirrored in galaxies, stars, tides, and the quiet beat of your own heart. Now, picture yourself floating beyond the atmosphere, the earth below you, a glowing blue sphere turning silently in the dark. You drift weightless, suspended between the hum of your breath and the endless hush of space. No sound, no wind, no direction. Only light, soft, golden, eternal. The stars move around you, though in truth it is you who moves. You are part of the grand rotation, part of the turning of galaxies and the tilt of planets. Your body a compass that points always toward balance. Your heartbeat a metronome set to the rhythm of the cosmos. The deeper you drift into this vision, the more you realize sleep is not an escape from the universe. It is your meeting with it in those quiet hours. The same forces that move the stars are recalibrating you, repairing cells, recharging energy, restoring equilibrium. Every heartbeat echoes the same cosmic pulse that drives creation itself. Now the stars begin to fade. A faint golden light grows along the horizon. The universe exhales, and so do you. The cycle continues, as it always has. Night gives birth to morning. Dream gives way to waking. And in that moment between sleep and light, you remember the stars you saw were not gone. They were simply waiting for you to notice, to remember that you belong to them, that you always have and always will. Because the stars do not sleep, they only dream with open eyes. And every night they invite you to dream with them. Have you ever wondered why falling in a dream feels so real? That sharp drop in your stomach, that sudden jolt awake just before you hit the ground. It's strange, isn't it? How your body reacts as if the fall were truly happening. But it isn't just a dream. It's a conversation between your mind and gravity. A silent reminder from the universe that you're still anchored to the earth, still bound by its pull, even when your mind wanders into infinity. Gravity is the invisible thread that connects everything, the unseen storyteller of the cosmos. It holds galaxies together and guides rivers downhill. It shapes the curve of your spine as you lie in bed. It's what makes raindrops fall softly against your window. And it's what tugs gently at your thoughts as you begin to drift. But there's a deeper mystery here. one that science has only begun to whisper about. Because gravity doesn't just shape the outer world, it influences the inner one too. Your heart, your mind, your very sense of self are subtly tuned to its rhythm every second. The cells in your body sense gravity's pull and adjust. Your inner ear, your blood flow, your sleep cycles, all responding to that ancient tug. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are lying on a soft hill beneath a vast sky, the ground beneath you warm and steady. You can almost feel the earth breathing slowly, its gravity holding you close. Not as a prison, but as a cradle. The air hums with stillness. The grass shifts with the faintest wind, and somewhere within that silence, you realize something. Gravity isn't just pulling you down, it's embracing you, a constant, tender reminder that you belong somewhere now. Think of how your body responds to weightlessness. Astronauts who float in orbit often describe a strange restlessness. They drift without direction. Sleep becomes fragmented. Dreams become vivid, almost surreal. Without the sensation of weight, the mind begins to lose its anchor. It's as if gravity is not just physical, it's emotional. Without it, something essential feels missing. Even in space, astronauts have said they dream of falling, of landing, of coming home. Perhaps gravity doesn't just hold us to the Earth. Perhaps it holds us to ourselves. Scientists studying sleep have discovered something remarkable. When you lie down, gravity's influence on your body shifts subtly. Your heart works less, your blood redistributes, your muscles release tension. Your brain begins to interpret this change as safety, as permission. It's one of the reasons lying down feels like letting go. You are surrendering to gravity's care, allowing it to hold you, to remind you that you don't have to fight, that it's okay to rest, but gravity also lives in your dreams. Think of the sensation of flying, how often it appears when you're happy, free, or curious. Flying dreams are your mind experimenting with the rules, letting go of the pull of gravity, testing what freedom feels like. And then there are the falling dreams, those sudden drops that wake you with a gasp. Scientists call it a hypnic jerk, a reflex caused by muscles relaxing faster than the brain expects. But there's something poetic about it, isn't there? As if your body, for one brief second, forgets the agreement it made with Earth, and gravity gently reminds it, you are still here. Now imagine something deeper. What if gravity and consciousness are connected in ways we barely understand? Some physicists believe that gravity may play a role in how information moves through the brain, that the very curvature of space-time affects the way our neurons communicate. If true, it would mean that even your thoughts are shaped by gravity's whisper. Every dream, every emotion, every flicker of imagination gently curved by the same force that moves the planets. And suddenly, that pull doesn't feel heavy at all. It feels sacred. Picture yourself drifting through space, weightless, silent, surrounded by the endless velvet of night. There is no up, no down, only you and the faint hum of your breath. At first, it feels freeing, but slowly, you notice something missing. The grounding, the direction, the sense of belonging. You long for that gentle downward pull, that invisible hand. And when it comes, you surrender. You fall, not in fear, but in trust. Like rain returning to the sea, like a leaf floating to the ground. Did you know that gravity has no true opposite? There's no force in nature that cancels it. It is constant, infinite, patient, even when we defy it, when we fly, when we dream. When we build towers into the sky, gravity waits, and when we're ready, it welcomes us back. It doesn't punish or command, it simply holds. In a universe of chaos and motion, gravity is the promise that nothing drifts forever. In that sense, dreams and gravity are the same. Both are invisible, both are felt, both guide us when we're lost. Dreams pull your mind inward as gravity pulls your body downward each night. The two forces meet, your consciousness falling through layers of thought and emotion, your body sinking deeper into stillness, until, at last, you are suspended between both worlds, not flying, not falling, simply floating in peace. There is a theory, poetic but strangely logical, that gravity is not a force at all, but a bending of time itself, that everything with mass curves the fabric of reality, creating the sensation we call weight. If that's true, then every time you lie down to sleep, you're not just resting, you're folding gently into the shape of space-time, becoming part of the universe's natural curvature, a small ripple in an endless ocean of energy. Think of the people you love, each of them a tiny source of gravity in your life. They pull at you, not with weight, but with presence. When they're near, you feel anchored. When they're far, something inside you drifts. Even emotions have gravity. Joy lifts, longing stretches across invisible distances. And maybe, just maybe, love is another kind of gravitational field. Unseen, immeasurable, but undeniably real. So tonight, as you sink deeper into sleep, feel the gravity of everything that holds you, the bed beneath you, the earth beneath that, the stars beyond. All part of the same beautiful pull. You are not falling. You are being carried. You are not lost. You are orbiting the center of something infinite. And in that center, call it gravity, call it love, call it home, you are safe. You are known. You are still. Let that feeling hold you now. The world may spin, the stars may move, but gravity remains the oldest, softest promise in the universe, that no matter how far you drift, you will always be drawn gently back to where you belong. Now breathe in, let go, and drift into that endless, invisible embrace. The gravity of dreams pulling you closer until all that remains is stillness and the quiet hum of the universe cradling you to sleep. Have you ever noticed how rain changes everything? The way it slows time, the way it hushes the noise of the world. Even your thoughts seem too quiet. Your breath deepens, your muscles release. It's almost as if your body recognizes something ancient, something written into its very chemistry. But what is it about rain that speaks so directly to the soul? Why does the sound of it calm even the most restless mind? To understand that, we must listen carefully, not just with ears, but with memory. Rain isn't just water falling. It's the voice of a system that has existed for billions of years. Each drop that touches your skin was once part of a cloud, an ocean, perhaps even a glacier long gone. It has traveled across time and continents, through rivers, through roots, through you. Every drop carries the fingerprint of history, the residue of life itself. When it falls, it isn't random, it's rhythm. A rhythm that your body understands because it is built from the same patterns. Picture yourself lying in bed as the rain begins. The first soft taps against the window, like the cautious knocking of a dream. Then, more steady, gentle, endless, the sound spreads, fills the room, and wraps around you like a blanket of sound. There's something hypnotic in that repetition. Each droplet lands at a slightly different time, never predictable, yet never chaotic. It's a balance between order and randomness, the exact kind of pattern that soothes the human brain. Your mind recognizes it, not as noise, but as nature's lullaby, the same pattern that has whispered to sleeping creatures for eons. Scientists call this pink noise. Unlike the harsh static of white noise, pink noise has deeper, more natural frequencies. The sound of rain, of wind in trees, of waves on a shore. It slows down your brain's activity, syncing it with the rhythm of the world. Your heart rate lowers, your breathing steadies. The body understands it's time to rest, but the connection goes even deeper. The sound of rain activates regions in your brain linked to nostalgia, comfort, and emotional regulation. It reminds you of shelter, of safety, of moments spent under roofs while storms passed above. It's the sound of protection, danger outside, warmth inside. Your brain evolved to find calm in that contrast. Because when rain falls and you are safe, the body interprets it as victory, as peace. You survived. The storm cannot reach you. You can let go. Now imagine yourself walking through a forest after the rain, the air thick with petrichor, that earthy scent born from the meeting of water and soil. It's caused by a compound called geosmin, a substance released by microorganisms when raindrops strike the ground. Your nose is so sensitive to it that you can detect it at parts per trillion. Why, scientists wonder, do humans respond so deeply to this smell? Because once upon a time, the scent of rain meant life. It meant rivers refilling, crops growing, animals returning to drink. Rain was hope made tangible. And that memory, that ancient gratitude, still lives in your DNA. But rain doesn't just soothe the body, it mirrors the mind. Each drop is like a thought falling into awareness, scattered, momentary, yet together forming something vast and flowing. When you listen to rain long enough, you begin to notice how it speaks in patterns. The sudden rush of a gust, the soft fade, the distant roll of thunder. It feels alive, almost intelligent, because it reflects the rhythms within you, your heartbeat, your breathing, your neural pulses, all part of the same universal tempo. And yet, there's suspense hidden within its peace. Rain can be gentle, but it can also transform. It can turn still rivers into floods, soft clouds into storms. The same sound that lulls you to sleep once fueled awe and fear. Our ancestors heard rain and listened for thunder, for signs, for omens, for gods in their stories. Rain was both creation and destruction, a power that could bless or drown. And somewhere deep in your subconscious, that duality still stirs. The comfort of rain mixed with the thrill of its danger, a perfect blend of calm and awe, the emotional alchemy that fuels dreams. Have you ever dreamed of rain, not just seeing it, but hearing it, feeling it? It's one of the most common dream motifs across cultures. In dreams, rain often symbolizes cleansing, renewal, the washing away of burdens. Psychologists say it represents emotional release, your mind watering its own garden. And it's no coincidence that rain dreams often precede waking, refreshed. Your body and mind use that imagery to process stress, to rinse away what the waking world leaves behind. In many traditions, rain is sacred. The Japanese have a word, komoribi, for sunlight filtering through wet leaves. The ancient Greeks saw rain as the tears of Zeus in Hindu mythology. Rain was the breath of life exhaled by the god Indra. And in nearly every creation story on earth, water is the first element, the mother of all things, the memory of the universe before form. When you listen to rain, you are hearing that memory retold. You are listening to creation itself, repeating its first heartbeat. Imagine the journey of a single raindrop, born from vapor rising off the sea, lifted into the sky by sunlight and warmth, gathered into a cloud, a floating ocean of potential. Then, as temperature shifts, it condenses, heavy and full. It begins its fall, not aimless, but destined. It falls through layers of wind, through invisible currents, until it lands on leaf, on stone, on your window pane. Its sound a soft punctuation in the language of the sky. And in that moment, its story ends and begins again, because that drop will rise once more, carried by evaporation, back into the heavens. A cycle that never stops, just like breath, just like dreams. When you listen closely, rain doesn't fall, it sings. Each drop an instrument, each surface a note. Together they form a vast orchestra that no human could ever compose. The roof, the trees, the earth, all part of the symphony. And you, lying in your bed, are not an observer. You are part of it, your breathing joining the rhythm, your heartbeat syncing with its pulse. The rain doesn't fall around you, it falls with you. There's a theory among sound therapists that rain works like a mirror for emotion. Its gentle unpredictability allows the brain to project feelings onto it. Sadness finds companionship in its rhythm. Peace finds reinforcement in its constancy. It doesn't tell you how to feel. It holds space for you to feel. That's why it never grows old. You could listen for hours and it would still feel new, alive, human. And perhaps that's the greatest secret of rain. It speaks the same language as your soul, one of patience, repetition, renewal. Each drop a reminder that even what falls is not lost, that descent is not destruction, it's part of the cycle. Rain falls, the earth drinks, life grows, and the sky calls it home again. So, as you lie there now, listen, not just with your ears, but with your whole being. Hear the slow, steady music of the planet's heartbeat, the rhythm that once guided the first forms of life and still guides you now. Let it wash over you, the worry, the noise, the clutter of thought. Let it rinse your mind clean, one drop at a time. You don't need to hold on to anything. The rain knows what to carry away. You just have to let it fall. And as you drift toward sleep, imagine your dreams forming like clouds, gathering fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination, until they become full enough to release their own gentle rain, falling softly through your subconscious, nourishing what needs to grow, cleansing what needs to fade. Each dream a raindrop, each breath a river, flowing endlessly between body and mind, until morning light breaks like clear sky and the world feels new again. Because that is the promise of rain, to remind you that every ending is a renewal. Every drop that falls is also rising, and every night you sleep, You too are part of that eternal, beautiful cycle. Have you ever wondered what happens above the clouds when the world goes to sleep? When the streets fall silent and the air grows heavy with the scent of midnight rain, high above us, a vast symphony plays unseen, winds dancing across invisible boundaries, air currents weaving patterns that shape tomorrow's weather before we even wake. Everything connected in an endless ballet of motion and energy. And if you listen closely on a still night, you can almost hear it, the whisper of the jet stream gliding through the darkness like a breath drawn by the earth itself, steady, eternal, patient, and powerful. Picture yourself floating high above the world, far beyond the reach of trees or mountains, in that place where the sky shifts from blue to black, where stars shimmer like reflections in deep water. Below you, the clouds roll and fold in slow motion, enormous rivers of vapor stretching across continents. The air is thin and cold, carrying the scent of frozen ozone and ancient dust, the residue of storms that lived and died thousands of miles away. There is a hum here, not a sound you hear, but one you feel, a vibration that comes from the endless flow of air moving from one hemisphere to the other, whispering secrets of balance and motion. This is where the jet stream lives, and its movements are the pulse of our planet's weather, the silent heartbeat that keeps the rhythm of wind and rain. The jet stream is a narrow, powerful band of wind that circles the globe like a ribbon wrapped around the Earth's crown. It lives high in the troposphere, the layer of air where weather is born, and it moves with breathtaking speed, often faster than 250 miles per hour. These winds don't form randomly. They are born from contrasts, from the eternal tug-of-war between cold polar air and warm tropical air. Where they meet, the jet stream is born, slicing through the sky like a blade of invisible motion. You can imagine it as the seam between two great fabrics of atmosphere, constantly shifting, twisting, and reshaping the weather below. It was first discovered during World War II, when pilots flying long distances noticed that their aircraft sometimes moved astonishingly fast or painfully slow, depending on whether they flew with or against this unseen current. Scientists began to realize that this river of air wasn't just a curiosity. It was the hidden hand behind weather patterns. Storms followed its path like dancers tracing the lines of a melody. When the jet stream dipped south, it brought cold and snow. When it curved north, it carried warmth and moisture. Our calm days, our tempests, our floods and droughts, all of them, in some way, are children of this wind. But here's where the mystery deepens, and where our story drifts into the poetic. The jet stream isn't static. It breathes. It moves like a sleeping creature, restless and alive. At times, it races around the planet in smooth, circular waves. Other times, it writhes and bends, forming great loops that linger and sway. When it does, strange things happen on Earth. A loop might trap warm air over a region, creating heat waves that last for weeks. Another might draw cold Arctic winds deep into southern lands. Sometimes it even splits in two, forming double ribbons that encircle the globe like twin serpents. And though we map it, measure it, and name it, we still can't fully predict its moods. Scientists have discovered that the jet stream's behavior is linked not only to temperature differences, but to something far grander, the planet's rotation. The balance of air pressure and even distant shifts in the ocean's warmth. El Niño and La Niña, great oceanic patterns that rise and fall every few years, send ripples of energy into the sky, tugging at the jet stream like invisible fingers, altering its speed, changing its shape. Volcanic eruptions can do the same, releasing plumes of ash and heat that bend the flow of wind for months afterward. Even the melting of Arctic ice, caused by our warming planet, may be slowing the jet stream's rhythm, making its movements lazier, its curves deeper, and its weather patterns more extreme. So when you hear about a storm that lingers too long or a drought that won't end, think of this great river of air, sluggish, looping, hesitating in the sky. It's almost as if the planet itself is sighing, shifting uneasily in its sleep. And perhaps it's no coincidence that we, too, are affected by these invisible flows. Just as the jet stream moves between poles of hot and cold, our own thoughts drift between calm and chaos. There's something hypnotic about this symmetry, the idea that both minds and skies are ruled by motion and balance, that both seek equilibrium, and that both can fall into turbulence when that balance is lost. Imagine, for a moment, floating within the jet stream itself. You'd be carried faster than any bird, faster than any storm, moving with the current that threads the entire world. You'd glide from one horizon to another, crossing time zones like stepping stones across a pond. Below, the continents slide past, oceans turning silver under the moonlight, mountain ranges flickering like veins beneath the earth's skin. It's quiet up here, eerily so. There are no boundaries, no sound, but the constant, soft roar of the wind. It's the sound of motion itself, the music of the planet's breath. Endless, eternal, peaceful. Did you know that there are multiple jet streams? In fact, there are 4 main ones, 2 in each hemisphere, 1 near the poles and 1 near the equator. The subtropical jet streams, warmer and gentler, are born from the meeting of tropical heat and cooler mid-latitude air. The polar jets, colder and more intense, circle near the Arctic and Antarctic, like the outer edges of a spinning coin. Together, they form an intricate dance of air, shaping the rise and fall of clouds, the rhythm of rain, and even the migration patterns of birds. Yes, birds, especially those that fly great distances, use the edges of these currents to travel farther, faster, saving energy as they ride the wind highways that nature has carved. The jet stream is not just a scientific phenomenon. It's a metaphor for flow, the invisible motion that carries life forward. It reminds us that even in stillness there is movement. Even in silence there is energy. Like thought, like breath, like dreams. When you close your eyes tonight and listen to the hum of your room, imagine that the air around you is part of that same great motion, the wind that once circled above the Himalayas, that brushed across oceans, that now drifts softly past your face. You are connected to it. You are breathing the world's breath. And so, as we drift from this moment, the jet stream fades into a whisper, a reminder that the earth is alive, always turning, always balancing. The winds above are like thoughts in the planet's mind, constant, mysterious, shaping what's to come. Let that image stay with you as you breathe deeper, slower, calmer, feeling your own internal weather settle into peace. Because in the grand rhythm of wind and motion, you are both the sky and the stillness beneath it. Have you ever wondered what happens when the air itself begins to dream? When the invisible ocean of gases that wraps around our planet begins to shimmer, twist, and glow in the silent hours of the night. High above where weather ends, far beyond the reach of even the tallest storms, the upper atmosphere awakens. There, invisible currents shimmer with ribbons of light, and strange, ghostly clouds drift in the darkness, glowing faintly like the breath of the stars themselves. It's a world most of us never see, a hidden realm where space and sky merge. And tonight, that is where we drift. Picture yourself floating upward, beyond the last whisper of the wind, rising past the highest cirrus clouds. The air around you thins, the blue of the sky deepens into indigo, then into a velvet black scattered with stars. The world below is sleeping, quiet, serene, but up here, the atmosphere is alive with motion. You can see faint streaks of green light rippling across the horizon like waves of silk. They rise and fade, curl and shimmer, as if the planet itself were breathing in color. These are the auroras, the northern and southern lights, nature's own light show, born from the dance between the sun and the earth, a spectacle of magnetism and wonder. The story of the aurora begins 90 million miles away, on the blazing surface of the sun. Every moment, the sun throws out a storm of particles, charged fragments of atoms, hurled into space by massive explosions known as solar flares. This stream of particles, called the solar wind, travels across the void for days before it reaches our world. When it does, the Earth's magnetic field, that invisible shield protecting us from radiation, begins to tremble. Some of those charged particles slip through the magnetic field near the poles, spiraling down into the atmosphere. And there, in the thin air of the thermosphere, they collide with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen. Each collision releases a tiny spark of light, a photon. Millions of these sparks together become the aurora. But what makes this phenomenon even more mesmerizing is its unpredictability. No two auroras are the same. Sometimes they appear as faint, ghostly veils, barely visible. Other times, they explode into radiant curtains of green, violet, red, and blue, stretching from horizon to horizon. The color depends on which atoms the solar wind excites. Oxygen glows green or red, nitrogen turns blue or purple. The pattern, the motion, the rhythm, all of it depends on invisible forces flowing between the sun and the earth, like a cosmic heartbeat, steady yet wild. There's something poetic in this, the idea that the lights above us are not random beauty, but the visible echo of storms on a distant star. It's as though the universe itself whispers across the void, leaving trails of color in our sky to remind us that everything, even chaos, can be breathtaking. Scientists studying auroras use satellites and high-altitude balloons to track the way solar particles interact with our magnetic field. They've discovered that during powerful solar storms, the energy entering our atmosphere can disrupt communications, create surges in power grids, even confuse migratory animals that rely on magnetic navigation. Yet, in that disruption, there is also artistry, a dance between destruction and creation. Did you know that some auroras make sound? It's a faint crackle, a whispering static that occurs when charged particles disturb the air molecules near the ground. For centuries, Travelers in the Arctic reported hearing these sounds, though scientists dismissed them as imagination. Only recently have researchers captured them with sensitive instruments, tiny, electric discharges that seem to hum in harmony with the light above. Imagine that for a moment, the sky singing softly to itself, the Earth's atmosphere turning cosmic energy into both color and sound. Far below the glowing ribbons, the world is still asleep. Snow-covered forests glimmer in the light of the aurora. The sea reflects the colors like moving glass. And if you were standing there, looking up, you might feel something stir deep within you, a quiet awe that feels almost ancient. People have watched these lights for thousands of years. The Inuit believed they were the spirits of ancestors playing in the sky. The Norse saw them as reflections from the shields of the Valkyries. Even the Romans thought of them as omens from the gods. And though we now understand the physics behind the phenomenon, that sense of mystery remains untouched, because knowing how something happens doesn't make it less magical. There's also something deeply calming about the way auroras move. They never rush, they drift, they sway, they seem to breathe. Watching one is like observing the thoughts of the planet made visible, luminous dreams flowing across the firmament. And maybe that's why people find them so hypnotic. They remind us that even in a vast mechanical universe ruled by physics and magnetism, beauty finds a way to exist. The aurora is nature's way of painting with energy, transforming radiation into grace, chaos into color. But our journey through the upper atmosphere doesn't end here. For beyond the auroras lie even stranger wonders, the noctilucent clouds. These are the highest clouds in the world, floating at the edge of space. Nearly 50 miles above the Earth, they shine with an icy blue light, visible only during summer twilight when the sun has dipped just below the horizon. Noctilucent means night shining, and that's exactly what they do. They glow when the world is dark. These clouds are made of ice crystals, so fine that they can only form around microscopic particles of dust. Dust that often comes from meteors burning up in the atmosphere. In other words, these clouds are born from stardust. Imagine that. Clouds made of the remnants of falling stars, glowing softly as they drift across the edge of the world. Scientists still don't fully understand why they form or why they've become more common in recent decades. Some believe it's due to changes in the atmosphere caused by climate shifts. Others think it's part of a natural cycle tied to solar activity. Whatever the cause, they are mesmerizing, the silent messengers of space meeting sky. A reminder that our planet is constantly touched by the universe beyond. There is something deeply tranquil about realizing that we live inside an ocean of air that is alive with light and motion. The upper atmosphere is not empty. It's a living boundary, a breathing skin between Earth and space. Here, every gust of solar wind, every flicker of magnetism, creates something ephemeral, something astonishing. It is a place where science becomes poetry, where energy becomes art. It reminds us that even in the darkest corners of existence, beauty thrives. As you lie back now, breathing slowly, imagine those glowing curtains of light rippling across the night sky, their colors folding gently like the waves of a sleeping sea, each flicker a heartbeat, each shimmer a whisper. The earth is dreaming above you, its breath glowing softly against the stars. You are part of that dream, part of the quiet current that flows between sky and space. Let that image settle in your mind, vast, weightless, peaceful, timeless, and now. As the light fades and the stars reclaim their silence, we drift onward, downward this time, from the edge of space to the realm of clouds and rain, where weather takes form and the breath of the planet turns once more into the rhythms of wind and storm. Have you ever wondered where storms are born? Not just the gray clouds that roll in with rain, but the colossal, towering systems that seem almost alive, the kind that rise from the horizon like ancient gods, their bellies glowing with lightning, their voices booming with thunder. What if I told you that storms are not merely weather, but living sculptures of motion, heat, and chaos, each one carrying the memory of sunlight that once warmed the sea? Tonight, we drift into the secret heart of a storm, to watch how air and water, light and darkness, come together in one of nature's most breathtaking performances. Picture yourself standing on an open plain somewhere far away from the city. The sky above is a vast canvas of steel blue, heavy and still. The air feels thick, humming with anticipation. There's a scent, ozone and damp earth, the prelude. In the distance, clouds are gathering, slowly building upon themselves. First, they're soft, cotton-like, and gentle, but as the minutes pass, they grow taller, denser, darker. It's as though the heavens are rising, stacking layer upon layer, until what was once a peaceful afternoon begins to feel like the edge of a cosmic awakening. That's where every storm begins, in warmth and stillness. When sunlight heats the ground, the air above it grows lighter and rises. Higher up, the air cools, the vapor condenses, and clouds form. But sometimes, conditions are just right. The ground is very warm, the upper air very cold, and the winds are shifting in subtle ways. That's when a simple cloud can evolve into something far greater, a cumulonimbus, the towering king of the skies, the engine of thunder and lightning. Inside that cloud, the world transforms. Updrafts of warm air surge upward at speeds of over 100 miles per hour, carrying moisture miles into the atmosphere. As the air cools, the water vapor condenses into droplets, releasing heat that fuels the storm further. Each droplet grows, collides, and merges until they become heavy enough to fall as rain. But not all of them reach the ground. Some are lifted again and again by the churning updrafts, freezing into pellets of ice, growing larger each time they rise. That's how hail is born, a frozen echo of the storm's own heartbeat within the thunderhead. Invisible battles rage between positive and negative charges. The top of the cloud becomes positively charged, while the base gathers negative energy. The difference in charge grows immense, millions of volts waiting for release. And when that tension snaps, the result is lightning, a brilliant thread of electricity connecting sky to earth or cloud to cloud. It's hotter than the surface of the sun, a single bolt heating the air to 30,000 degrees Celsius. The air expands in an instant, creating a shock wave, thunder, the sky's own roar. The sound of imbalance becoming balance again. Did you know that there are over 1.4 billion lightning flashes each year across the world? That's more than 40 times per second. Some strike land, others dance within the clouds, unseen by human eyes. Each one helps restore the atmosphere's balance of electrical energy, keeping the global circuit alive. And sometimes, lightning takes on strange forms, silent red flashes that shoot upward into space, called sprites, or glowing blue jets that burst from the tops of storms like ghostly fountains. For centuries, these phenomena were thought to be myths until high-altitude cameras captured them, revealing that even the sky has secrets it only shares with those who look closely enough. Storms are not just chaos, they are structure. Within their fury lies exquisite symmetry. Every gust of wind, every flicker of lightning, every drop of rain serves a purpose. The storm breathes, it inhales moisture, exhales wind. It lives, grows, and eventually dies, collapsing back into the calm from which it came. When you think of it this way, a storm is not something to fear, but something to respect. A grand orchestra of forces that keeps the planet alive. Without storms, heat would never be redistributed. The tropics would grow unbearably hot, the poles unbearably cold. Rain would not fall, rivers would not flow, and the balance of life would break. The tempest, then, is the Earth's way of healing itself. But in that healing lies awe. There are supercell storms, rare, mighty structures that spin like slow-moving whirlpools, with rotating updrafts that can birth tornadoes. Inside them, the air rotates in perfect spirals, sculpted by wind shear and pressure gradients. The eye of a hurricane. Calm, eerie, and almost sacred, is another form of that balance. In the middle of destruction, there is serenity. A quiet center surrounded by fury. Standing there, you'd feel almost nothing, just still air and filtered light, while the walls around you roar with 150-mile-per-hour winds. It's a paradox that mirrors the human condition, the search for stillness within chaos. And then there's rain, the gentle ending of the storm's song. As the cloud exhausts its energy, its updrafts weaken, and gravity takes over. Raindrops fall in billions, each one reflecting light, each one born from a journey through the heart of turbulence. They hit the ground with a soft, rhythmic patter, a sound that has comforted humankind since the beginning of time. Rain cleanses, renews, softens. It brings scent, petrichor, the fragrance of dry earth meeting water. And that smell is not just pleasant, it's ancient. It comes from oils released by plants and spores from soil-dwelling microbes carried into the air by raindrops. When you smell rain, you're inhaling the earth's memory. There's something deeply poetic about that. The idea that every storm ends not with destruction, but with renewal. Each bolt of lightning rebalances the atmosphere. Each drop of rain feeds the ground. Storms may seem violent, but they are also vital. They churn the oceans, fertilize the soil, and even shape the evolution of life. The nitrogen in our DNA, the iron in our blood, both were once forged in cosmic storms, long before the Earth existed. The storms we see today are echoes of that same process, repeating endlessly. A reflection of creation itself. As you lie there, listening, imagine the rhythm of the storm as a kind of lullaby. The distant rumble of thunder, slow, rolling, deep, like a heartbeat fading into the horizon. The soft hiss of rain against the window. The gentle sigh of wind in the trees. These are not noises to fear. They are reminders that the world is alive, that balance comes through movement, that calm always follows chaos. In the quiet after the storm, everything feels cleaner, brighter, softer. Even the air tastes new. And now, as the rain tapers off and the clouds begin to break, you can almost feel the world exhale. The tension dissolves. The sky lightens. A single ray of moonlight touches the horizon. The storm has passed, but its echo lingers, a whisper of power, a memory of movement. You drift with it, weightless and calm, knowing that every storm, no matter how fierce, eventually fades into silence. Now, let's follow that silence. Deeper still, beyond the rain, beyond the clouds, into the cool breath of the night itself, where the atmosphere rests, and the stars return to watch over a world newly washed and dreaming once more. Have you ever wondered why the night feels different after the rain? There's something almost otherworldly about it. The way the air turns thick with stillness, the way every sound becomes sharper, and the world seems to hold its breath. You can almost feel it, that quiet hum beneath the silence, as if the earth itself is cooling down, releasing heat, and whispering to the stars that it has survived another storm. But what really happens in those hours after the rain ends? Where does all that energy go? And how does the sky recover from the chaos it just unleashed? Tonight, we journey into that mysterious calm, the twilight between storm and starlight, where the world begins to heal itself. Molecule by molecule, breath by breath, picture yourself walking through a landscape washed clean by rain. The air is cool, almost heavy, carrying the scent of wet leaves and distant soil. Puddles mirror the dim light of a half moon, and every step you take ripples through reflections of silver and blue. Around you, the wind has softened. The trees stand still, their branches dripping in slow rhythm. Somewhere far off, thunder murmurs its last farewell, rolling away into the dark hills. The night feels wide, almost infinite. There's a weight to it, but not an oppressive one, more like a deep exhale, the kind that comes after tension has broken. This is the world in recovery, the atmosphere breathing out the remnants of energy that once crackled and roared across its veins. The calm after the storm is more than a poetic phrase. It's a physical transformation, a rebalancing of the planet's forces. During a storm, the air churns violently, mixing heat, moisture, and electricity. When the storm passes, that energy dissipates, and the air reorganizes itself. The upper layers settle, cooler and drier, while the lower layers, near the ground, fill with the scent of ozone, dust, and new life. It's as if the sky is slowly stitching itself back together, sealing the wounds left by its own creation. The sudden stillness we feel afterward isn't emptiness, it's equilibrium returning. Scientists have a name for part of this effect: atmospheric cleansing. When it rains, millions of droplets fall through the air, collecting particles of dust, pollen, and pollutants as they descend. Each raindrop acts like a tiny vacuum, pulling impurities from the sky. When the storm ends, the air becomes clearer, purer, literally easier to breathe. It's not just your imagination that post-rain air smells and feels better. It truly is cleaner, charged with negative ions that interact with your body in subtle ways. Studies have shown that these ions can lift mood, sharpen alertness, and even promote relaxation. So when you inhale that cool, sharp scent of rain, your body is responding instinctively. It's grounding itself, syncing with the refreshed rhythm of the earth. But the story doesn't end there. Once the storm clouds drift away, the atmosphere begins its quiet work of redistribution. Winds at high altitudes stretch and twist, moving the leftover heat from one region to another. Moisture evaporates from the wet ground and rises once more into the sky, beginning the eternal cycle anew. Even the temperature drops in those moments, not just because of the cooled air, but because of a process known as radiative cooling. Without clouds to trap heat, the earth begins to release its stored warmth into the void of space. The ground exhales infrared light, invisible to our eyes, and the planet slowly cools under the watchful gaze of the stars. If you've ever felt the sudden chill after rain, you've felt this process at work, the earth quietly shedding its fever, returning to balance. Did you know that the post-storm calm also creates one of the most beautiful, fleeting sights in nature? Ground fog. As the air cools and the ground remains moist, condensation forms just above the surface. What begins as a faint shimmer soon grows into a soft veil, drifting between trees and over hills like the spirit of the rain itself. This kind of fog, called radiation fog, is delicate. It forms in the hours just before dawn, turning valleys into rivers of mist and transforming familiar landscapes into dreamlike worlds. It's no wonder poets and travelers have always found meaning in these moments. The fog feels like a bridge between the storm's chaos and the world's rebirth. There's a hidden music to this time, not the roaring percussion of thunder, but a quieter symphony. The drip of water from leaves, the distant call of a night bird, the soft crackle of cooling earth. Every sound seems amplified, as if the air itself is listening. And perhaps it is. Sound travels differently in post-rain air, denser, more resonant. The moisture helps carry vibrations farther, making even distant noises feel intimate. It's one reason why, after a storm, the world feels both bigger and closer at once. We are surrounded by softness, and yet every whisper seems to reach us. It's an acoustic illusion that plays on the edge of perception, a lullaby of physics. But in the middle of this tranquility, something extraordinary happens, a kind of invisible rebirth. The moisture left behind feeds the soil, waking microbes and plants that had lain dormant during the dry days before. Seeds absorb the water and begin their hidden germination. Leaves open their pores, drinking the last of the night's dew. Even the air carries traces of change, microscopic scents of vegetation, minerals, and life. Biologists call this biogenic aerosol exchange, the process by which living things release particles into the air that in turn influence weather patterns. It means that life itself becomes part of the atmosphere's memory. The next time clouds form, they'll carry the traces of tonight's rebirth within them. And as the earth renews itself, the sky too undergoes a quiet metamorphosis. Tiny fragments of ice and dust, carried upward by lingering drafts, begin to refract the moonlight. The stars appear sharper, brighter. Sometimes faint arcs of light shimmer near the horizon. Moonbows, the nocturnal cousins of rainbows, formed when moonlight reflects off the last raindrops in the air. They are rare, ghostly, often pale, white or silvery blue. If you're lucky enough to see one, it feels like looking into a secret. There's a strange, almost supernatural stillness that follows the birth of dawn after rain. The air holds its breath once more, waiting for light. The horizon glows faintly, not the harsh brightness of day, but a soft warmth, like a candle burning far away. The mist begins to lift, curling upward like smoke from an extinguished flame, and in that moment you can feel the cycle complete itself. The world that trembled with thunder just hours ago is now reborn in silence. The atmosphere has rewritten itself, the balance restored. Maybe that's why storms and the calm that follows have always fascinated us. They remind us that creation and destruction are not opposites, but partners. That beauty often comes after turmoil, that even chaos serves a purpose. The rain cleanses not just the air, but the mind. The thunder reminds us of power, and the silence afterward, that sacred quiet, reminds us that peace is never gone, only waiting beneath the noise. So, as you lie there now, imagine that quiet landscape. Feel the weight of the air, the coolness of the world, the rhythm of distant droplets fading into stillness. Breathe in that freshness, the scent of balance, of beginnings. Let it fill you, because you, too, are part of that cycle. You are made of water that once fell as rain, of air that once carried lightning, of energy that once roared through clouds. And just like the sky, you are capable of renewal. And now, as the night begins to lift, we drift forward, past the fog, past the quiet, into the radiant horizon of morning, where sunlight once again touches the world, and the great cycle of motion begins anew, ever flowing, ever dreaming, ever alive.